Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's 6:30 on Wednesday, March 4th. This is the Wakefield Board of Health monthly meeting. Let's start with public participation. And if you plan to speak on any of the other items on our agenda, I will ask that you hold your participation until we get to those items. But is anybody on this evening for public comment on any other issues? Please let us know. Seems like there's no public comment this evening, so we'll close public participation. How are we feeling about the minutes? Any thoughts? I thought they looked great.
They look good. I'll
Yep.
make a motion to accept the minutes of the January 21st meeting.
Or see anything?
Sorry. I'm just looking at the meeting minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. This is something different
Yeah.
than Shelby was giving to us. Okay. That was part of the thing. I second the motion.
Great. All in favor?
Aye, Silva.
Aye, Macaulay.
Linehan, I as well. So moved. Okay. Then we'll move on to discuss the dumpster permit late fees.
So we had a number of dumpsters that were late in paying dumpster permit holders that were late in paying for their dumpster permits this year. A good majority of them have paid for that permit, have paid the late fees up to this point. But we do have the 4 permit holders with us tonight that are looking to appeal their late fees.
Okay.
We can kind of go in order, but Dan has a lot of the details in each case. So if we want to go in order, we can.
Let's do that. Yep.
All right. Yeah, that's me. Yes. If you would like to comment, if you want to just sit at that seat, there's a camera there. So.
Sure, right there. Yep.
Thank you.
I think Susan needs to be in. And
We are good. Yes.
Okay, so just to give a background on William's specific application. So this application was submitted December 7th. And it seems that, and Will, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you did not pay for the 2025 permit. And you eventually did come in and pay for that permit, but it was understood that you were paying for the 2026 permit instead of the 2025 permit? Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems that that was the case, and because of that, we were not able to activate the payment step until January 21st in our permitting software. So it seems like there was a discrepancy between the permit, which one he was paying for, because he did not pay for the 2025 permit. That's what it seems to be. So what the total late fee would be, as of February, I believe 12th or 13th that you appealed, it would be $1,050 as a late fee from when he was able to pay to when he appealed the decision. So,
okay. Anything else to add, Dan? For him, for Mr. Labriola's case?
No, just that the late fee was available to pay the fee was available to be paid since January 21st. And we charge a $50 per day late fee beyond December 1st. In this case, he wasn't able to until January 21st. So
What was the fee that was due January 21st? The initial, and this is essentially a back fee from sounds like a systems slip up.
yeah, this one's a little tricky. He did not pay for the permit in 2025.
Okay.
So we did not discover that until renewal season this year around. So it seems that there was a miscommunication that he was paying for the 2026 permit, but really what he paid for was the 2025 permit that he did not pay originally, and the 2026 permit still has not been paid for. So
Okay.
if the 2025 permit has been paid for, 2026 has not been paid for, and he's been able to pay it since January 21st. So because of that, he's been getting the $50 a day late fee up until he requested to appeal it in front of the board. So as of today, his late fee totals $1,050 on top of the initial payment for the permit, which is $100.
Okay. Mr. Labriola, anything to add, sir?
Yeah, got a call in December from the health department, which was great. I got the call at the end of December and they said, Bill, you have to pay your dumpster permit. I was like, oh, I haven't gotten anything. So we just hadn't, the emails are coming in and they're kind of getting buried in my spam folder and I gotta go in and find it. So, when they called, I said, oh geez. So I went on, I made the payment and there was like one invoice available on my portal to pay. So we paid it. I didn't realize that was 2025. I thought it was 2026. So, we made that payment thinking we were in the clear because there was nothing else on there, I think it was a couple of weeks later, a few weeks later, we got an email from them just saying, hey, you didn't pay your 2026. And you have late fees starting January 1st, actually, initially. I said, oh, geez, we didn't get the email again. So Shelby was pretty good. She said, okay, here's what happened. She said, you weren't able to see it until January 22nd. So we'll take January 1st for the 22nd late fees off. And, you owe $1,100 or whatever it was. So we're just having a hard time getting the emails. I don't know why, if that's on my end. I certainly understand permits. I know why you have them. Trash can be a mess. I'm sure they gotta track it. So it's just been tough getting emails,
I will say, Will's been able to pay for, you guys have been able to pay for the permit fees online, since 2023, so I don't see any late fees except for December 2024. So we have an OpenGov portal, that we use. So what happens is OpenGov is the portal you go into to get messages. You also get an email if you get a message on there, so it's like a double notification system essentially. But we try to keep all of our communications on OpenGov just to make it all in one place.
Yeah.
So it looks like so Anna did send two messages, December 8th and December 16th. Reminding of the payment and then clarification on December 16th that there's an interruption on the permit renewal due to the previous outstanding 2025 permit being paid.
I have a question. I'm sorry, I don't know what 94 New Salem Street is. Is that a business?
So it's Taylor Moving Company.
Okay,
Across from Lori's, and I rent space behind there.
I see.
My business out of Wakefield.
Okay.
25 years.
Yeah, I do know. Now that you said that, I know where that is. Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't have a history, you've had this long time, you don't have a history of missing these payments.
No, the 2025 miss was, very rare for us to miss payments on anything. We've also picked up with the town, like personal property tax. We pay that also, that gets mailed to us, so it's kind of like a good little safety net. I'm not saying everything has to be mailed to us. I mean, I hate mailing my customers bills. I email them, so. I think this is a problem on our end also. I'm not like anybody for it,
Mm.
but
So it's more or less the first time they were late last year, but didn't realize it, right? Am I correct? And we didn't pick up on it
Slipped through
until
the
we were
cracks.
looking, went through the cracks, I think.
Yeah.
Fee wasn't paid in 2025. Yeah.
it was great getting the phone call. I mean, it would look a lot worse if I was sitting here and I didn't get a phone call in December, at least make that payment in January, which was kind of nice.
I was curious about that as well. Like, at what point do we make a phone call and say, something's falling through the cracks here?
Yeah, we usually in early December, we start giving phone calls out to permit holders that still are either haven't submitted or they're missing something, they haven't submitted their payment yet. We have automatic notifications with our email system, and then we also give phone calls starting in December.
So we have the vast majority of our permit holders do get everything renewed by early to mid-December. And we usually have a pretty good compliance rate. This year, it seems that there are quite a few that didn't renew in time, and then I would say the vast majority of them have paid their late fees, other than the ones today, so.
Has $50 a day been a long-standing penalty?
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's been the standard practice.
it's a lot.
I think what's funny is just to say a couple more things, sorry, but yeah, a lot of times we'll put holds on our dumpsters this time of year too, because we're really not in every day.
Sure.
So we don't really we're not a restaurant, it's not a very big item for us. We just try to keep tidy, you know?
Mhm.
Again, I understand the permit. I'm not, complaining about that. This would hurt a little bit this time of year for me being.
Nice.
So it's a first time violation, am I correct? You know, how many years has he had a permit with us? Do you know offhand? You know how many years you've had your dumpster permit with us?
2023 is the first one. I did some printing here.
Yep, 1.3 seems to be the first.
Yeah, 2023 was when we did it.
Mhm.
Something tells me I'm gonna remember to pay it every December now, that's for sure. You know?
Like a personal visit.
Yeah.
Or your secretary or your office manager is gonna get it tomorrow morning.
You know, that was the other thing I took from my admin was, why aren't I handling this? And
First time. But he did pay, you said, some of the fee, the late fee. We waived the January, the whole month of January, right?
So he paid for his 2025 permit, which
Right.
was outstanding.
Right.
But the 2026 permit has not been paid for. We waived some of the late fee because he was not able to pay for it in the portal until January 21st. So we have not charged him from January 1st to the 21st because he wasn't able to. He wouldn't have known.
So is there a reason why you didn't pay it once we figured it out?
I just thought it was unfair,
Your intention was to come before us?
correct. I would, I was happy you guys would let me come here and at least plead my case. And,
Okay.
the thing was, when I paid that payment, when they called me in December, I made a payment. And there was no invoice available for the 2026, so I didn't really realize what year I was paying. I would have paid it, And, and again, going back to, all my other bills from the town, personal property tax, light department bills, we get them mailed. And I'm not saying that I need everything mailed, but it does make it easier, especially when you start charging $50 a day on fees,
Mhm.
And guys, I've been working in town for 25 years. I grew up here. There's nothing I won't do for this town. I love it here. They call me for help, I help. They call me to donate time, I donate time. If you want to walk out there and look at the plaque with my company name on it, that's because we put days and days in out there. I don't do this a lot. I don't owe people money, so that's why I came.
Hmm.
Marcy, what are your thoughts?
I think it sounds like a credible mistake and these late fees accumulated very quickly.
Hmm.
And I think they're a lot for business right now. I would be in favor of giving him, I forget, are they calling it a rebate or
Abatement?
abatement? on that, yeah.
Just let it go,
You're thinking about
no charging.
reducing or like eliminating the late fees?
I see, I don't know you, but you're saying you've been in town 25 years and you've been a great business in our town. That's a bonus, in my opinion, that we have great businesses in our town. It looks like some type of mistake to me. So it's a lot of money.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts?
Thanks for asking. I am inclined to agree. It is a lot of money. It sounds like, we've sorted out that things got missed, but I think that there's a bit of an onus on our department to take responsibility, and I think we have. I would be in favor of reducing. I'd also be in favor of eliminating the late fee. What do you think, Elaine?
I kind of feel like it's never gonna happen again.
I,
Definitely remember the pay this.
being in public health for 20-something years and putting fines in place. My only thing is I do agree with you. It is a lot, Marcy, but those are the fees, and our fees here in Wakefield are actually cheaper than a lot of other towns and cities, in regards to that. And the only thing is where when he finally got called and he realized it, he didn't realize that 25, and when he went in to pay, there wasn't that other like statement there. So, because I would imagine if you went in and you saw the two statements, you probably would have had like a like this and then be writing out checks, for both years. So, I mean, I am glad that, we did waive that fee. And I think that as a one time, I think we can waive it because in a way, he couldn't see really what was there. But as soon as he was notified, he turned around and he did it. And he called you, and then that's when he discovered it. So he owned up to the mistake, so to speak. And so did we.
It doesn't seem like there's a history of.
No, there's no history. He's still new. And we've been online for dumpsters for what? Oh my God, we got to be on for 8, 9 years now. Is it 8, 7 or 8 years? Yeah. And the reason why, you talk about the mailing was we had huge problems with mailing. People never got them. They never mailed them back. They didn't get back on time. It was a lot. So we went on the online one, which has usually worked very well. But it can happen, the email can get lost, but that's why you get a call. That's why we have such good clerks in the health department and inspectors that are right on ball. So where you picked up the phone and you called and you went online and you said, wait a minute, why is this isn't 26, it's 25, what's going on,
Right.
Did you have a conversation that if you did not pay until you came here tonight to speak before us, that these fees would continue to accrue? Like you would be on the, you acknowledged that you were gonna be $50 a day until you got here to this board.
Just to clarify, once the appeal comes in, we stop the late fee counting. Like we don't count from the
Right,
appeal to.
right.
I see,
That was
okay.
my thought there.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
explained to, yeah.
So the total fee that we had talked about was just from non-payment to the appeal. And then from the appeal to the meeting, we stop that.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we don't charge the late fees this one time due to error on our part, computer part, and the person applying for the dumpster. But, it's a one time. Next year, I don't know.
Marcy,
I second that motion.
all in favor?
Silver eye.
Macaulay, aye.
Houlihan, aye.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate your time. Thanks, guys.
So license fee will still need to be paid. Just-
Yeah, no, I'm gonna. Is that available?
Yep, you can look at it online.
Great.
It's video.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, next is Michael Tamagna.
All right, so for Mr. Tamagna, we received his dumpster application for 2026 on February 12th. Obviously, the permits expire December 31st, so he has been charged a $50 late fee up until February 12th, which is a total of $2,100.
I'm looking at the paper and I think what's confusing me here is that, like, that makes sense, but then I see that it also mentions that there's a late fee assessed from January 1st through March 1st for $3,150.
I was talking to Shelby, so Shelby helped us put this together.
That's what confused me
We-
as well.
We stopped the permit accrual, the late fee accrual from the time of the
Time of
appeal.
the
So
appeal.
he appealed on February 12th. This is as if they.
That would be if he did it for March, if we kept the late fee till today.
So the
3,000.
the fee we're talking about here is 2,100.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. What else you got to share?
It's pretty cut and dry there. We didn't receive an application. Again, with our permit holders, we send out notifications, plenty of email notifications, we call. That was when we received an application. So it was 30 or 42 days late, $50 a day.
Okay.
Mhm.
Mr. Tamagna,
Yes,
can you share your part of the story, sir?
we have a 2-yard dumpster in our building for our tenants. We have never had to pay a permit fee for that dumpster up until last year. Last year, we were notified of it and we paid it. Under 3 yards, there was never a charge for a dumpster permit.
Okay.
And last year, they changed it and we paid the fee. This year, I never saw the email for the dumpster fee, and I apologize for that. But when I finally got a notification that there was a $50 a day fee due because it was late, I went down to see what I owed, and that's when they told me it was $2,200,
Mm.
which to me is crazy. I mean, it's a $75 dumpster fee. And I really don't pay any of our bills by email. I just don't do emails. I'm sorry about that. But I don't do emails, so I never saw it. If they had sent the bill, we would have paid it. We pay our water bills, our tax bills, our utility bills all come in the mail and they're all paid on time.
I'm looking here and it mentions in 2023 and 2024, this fee was paid online.
Yes, but I didn't pay. At that time, we had someone in the office who used to come in once a week and pay bills.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, she passed away this past November.
Sorry to hear.
We haven't replaced her as yet.
Okay.
So I'm just not, whether it's ignorance or what, I'm just not good at emails and I never saw this email in January. It wasn't until February that somebody called to my attention that there was a late fee being charged for a dumpster permit, and I said, what permit? I didn't even know about it.
There are 6 permits. Is that true?
One permit,
Is there, do you have, how many dumpsters?
one,
You have only one dumpster?
one dumpster.
Okay.
It's a 2-yard dumpster.
So
I
one,
think when they're saying it's 6 permits total, I wonder.
oh, that, okay.
6 permits
Okay.
she's done.
Records, right?
So they're on time.
So we do start sending out emails, both Anna and OpenGov, the system sends out, so OpenGov sends out automatic notifications starting in late October. Anna then but intersperses her own reminders up until December 31st. For just to remind people to apply.
I'm just having a hard time understanding why anybody would neglect to pay $50 on knowing that they could end up owing 3,000. So it's,
In this case, 2,100 because.
well, 2,100, but you know, you keep mentioning down here that through March 4th is 3,150. So, I just don't think that there's any common sense to that. So there's something not connecting. And if it's as simple as not, being someone who uses email, someone came to my home today that needed help with online registration for something. So I understand that. Something's falling through the cracks and there's and I'm not saying it's you, I'm saying it's a catch up to technology. And it's quite a penalty on residents of our town. I mean, that's a lot of money. If I got the bill, I'd probably cry. Just saying.
Yeah. Trying to like figure out like, we've in the last.
I'm not saying it's you.
No,
If there's a technology lapse, that's a real thing.
And I will say Anna has been, in terms of helping people with technology, like there's been many people who have come in from businesses, from individuals that come in looking for help and she'll just do it with them on the spot, like helping them fill in everything. So.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so people have come in and taken advantage of the fact that Anna's really good at, doing that. So.
but checking your email is a responsibility of the owner.
Mhm.
And that's how things are done. I think that's how we have a great, we call it a paper trail, but it's actually an electronic trail to see what communications have been sent and received. I think it's much more reliable than paper.
Mhm.
And I think that's the way that most things are sort of headed. So I get that there's a learning curve. but I think this is something that we need to be responsible for, you know? I have to be responsible for getting emails about my kids at school. You know, it took me a while to figure out the system, but we have to figure it out. And Anna is here as a great resource if there's struggles along the way. So,
That's probably a daily thing, not an annual thing. You know what I mean?
yeah, but I think you have to check your email every day.
I hear what you're saying.
Emails.
I think
The
that's
other side of
something,
that,
you know, that's a separate.
4 years old, I don't do email.
I have a lot of bills that I pay that constantly, most of my bills I pay online and I pay via, I are paperless.
Right.
But I do have a few that I want that paper. And I don't, they continuously say to me, would you like to go paperless? And I just ignore it because no, I want that. So it's a very large fee.
But that's not how this bill is paid. This is a bill that's paid online, and if there's help
It's a
to,
yearly bill. And
Yeah.
the thing is that they do find out and they're told that if they can get the payment in on time, that they will not get a late fee. So you have to say, somebody has to make a little bit of an effort to do that. And may I ask you, sir, who owns the property at 8 Foster
Me and
Street?
my partner do.
And is it like an apartment complex?
No, it's just a small building on Foster Street.
what's the dumpster for?
The dumpsters we have Electrolux vacuums in our building, and there is a beauty salon in there. And there is an apartment. And that's it.
So there's like 3 contributors.
Yeah.
And we've been paying for that dumpster to be dumped for 25 years.
And who not?
We don't put any trash out to the public on the streets.
Yeah.
All our trash goes in that dumpster and we have it dumped every week.
So if you've been paying the bill for 25 years, what happened this year?
Not the bill for the dumpster. There's never been a bill for that dumpster because it was only 2 yards.
I think you mean like paying the dumpster company.
We pay a dumpster company that every month to dump that dumpster.
But it looks like somebody was paying this fee for the last.
It was like 2023, it seems like that's when it started paying this. They started paying the town, the dumpster. per-
Was there a fee paid in 2025? Or that's what the late fee is, excuse me.
Correct, yes.
The late fee is from 2025.
Well, right, you were paying 2025 for the 26. Yeah.
I mean, I think, you could make a list of annual fees. And
Yes, and that.
refer to that list and go personally to the place where it needs to be paid if
that's
email
what
doesn't,
We will have to do.
yeah. But I don't do emails, not really an excuse that's gonna work, I think.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to discussing change in the fee. I can agree that that's a lot of money.
I think that was the average fee we compared to, I think, 3 or 4 other communities. And in the size, am I right? In our dumpster regulations, am I
It's
correct?
only a 2 yard, yes.
Yeah, right.
No.
It's
Regulations as well, we can charge up to $500 a day, so
right.
$50.
We do the 50, right. Mhm. I understand, but I don't understand how, if you have a dumpster and you have a business, you and your friend, I've owned businesses, and somebody has to be responsible for doing the bills.
Yes.
So who's paying the taxes? Who's paying the electric bill? Who's paying the water bill? Who's collecting the rents? Where is that all going?
I pay those, but those bills all come by paper. They are not emailed. Our utility bills, our tax bills are all emailed, are all sent by paper. Our water bill we pay by paper. We don't get any other bills by email.
And who handled it before? You said there was somebody in the office.
We had a woman in the office for over 20 years. Unfortunately, she passed away this past November. So I've had to take over paying the bills.
So she was obviously paying it prior.
Yes.
It was paid on time.
Online.
Online, yeah, she knew the system. Unfortunately. But nobody followed her trail. It's a hard one.
We could consider amending the fee. I still think a fee should be assessed.
I think maybe, I think personally, I understand how, he lost the person in the office, but I've had businesses and I know you have to keep on track, whether they come by email or or paper, even myself, with the bills come, I have a couple of things that they come by email and only email, and I have to pay attention to it and, things like that. But to me, you have an office, you have a business, you have other people, it's not like you just have that, like apartment buildings might be a little bit different, it might only be 4 or 5, but you've got those 3 businesses there and they must have to pay rent and, they're, that. So to me, no one followed through or looked at the past records from this woman that passed away to see what she paid and wrote it down and made a system. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
I feel bad, they lost the person that she probably ran the whole thing for so many years.
But
That's
we pay the tax bills because those come through the mail. They do not come by email. Any bills that come through mail are paid on time.
you can, I think I would cut the fee in half for
Mhm.
25 a day, but have to pay something until it's never happened before, but
Marcy, where are you at?
What, I'm curious what fund the fees go to, like with the
They go
pay,
to the- they go to the town's general
Oh.
fund.
so
It doesn't come,
to a general account, like not, or to the Board of Health,
no, it goes to the town's general fund.
the general fund, yeah. Okay.
And that's all of our fees. None of, even our permit fees don't come to our department. They go straight to the town.
Mm. I don't recall having this happen last year.
No, we actually had really good compliance,
Yeah.
minus that one, the last case, there was a strange like non-payment, non-covered, but other than that, we had no other.
Yeah, this one was paid last year.
Cause
Yeah.
I'm curious how often this happens. If,
It doesn't happen often. Actually, 2 years ago, the board, well, I think before you came on, the year before that, there was one case of an apartment building that didn't end up paying on time, and there's an issue with that. And I don't remember exactly what that was, but they just didn't pay for like 2 months. But other than that, it's not a common occurrence.
would this have anything to do with the changeover of the town's emails?
So this happened prior to, so our town email change happened during 2026. This happened, I mean, all the permits and everything were not affected until February.
Okay, curious.
My other thing is, why wouldn't we have got a phone call about this, that the permit fee was late?
How did you find out it was late?
I finally, somebody saw an email that said that the permit fee was late. And I went there in February to see if I could pay it, but when they said it was $2,200, I said, no. I can't afford to pay that.
Yeah, so Shelby does make phone calls. She'll try to leave a message when no one picks up, but she'll go through the list of ones in mid to late December as well to call and make sure that we follow up on those. And the last person also had received phone calls as well.
And then somebody saw the email that it was late?
Yes,
So somebody is checking an email that's associated with this account?
yes, somebody who checks out Tamagno and DePietro account said there's an email here for P&M. And that's when I found it. That was in February.
Thoughts about what to do about the fee, Marcy?
Someone checks your account that assists with taxes, or like someone that,
I paid the tax.
someone that just helps you out occasionally. Like I'm
Yeah.
still wondering about the finding the email and causing the follow-up.
What happened was it was sent to a Tamagno and DePietro account, which is our electric company.
Okay,
So my son, who takes care of that company, he saw the email and he said, Dad, there's an email here about P&M for a dumpster. That there's the permit is late. And that was in February, and that's when I went down to the Board of Health to see what it was all about.
And that email would be the one that was input when the account was first created with us, when they first paid online. That's, they have to put in like the contact information, and that would be
I
the.
see. Okay.
And we're thinking that it's likely Shelby reached out to this
person.
these
Yeah,
folks.
so we do a check like mid-December of people who still haven't paid, and she makes those phone calls, and we usually catch most people at that time, whoever hasn't, they'll-
The fact you said we haven't had this happen often, that's pretty great.
Yes, we try to make sure.
Yeah,
Our goal isn't to collect late fees, but
that's awesome. Do you know approximately how many annual dumpster fees we have? How many?
250, 300
Yeah.
in there.
Say that, I've
Quite a few.
seen your numbers.
Mhm.
I think for the most part, this OpenGov system works.
Yeah, in the last few years, it has worked excellent, better with the mail. Yeah, much better than with the mail.
Yes, and as it was also my first year, so Shelby helped me a lot with this,
To go through it all.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's
Mhm.
why all the calls. And when you did do the call on the last one, they responded right away and went, oh,
Mhm.
wow, look at this.
Right, you were able to catch.
Yeah, you were able to catch it. Mhm.
I would agree to cut the fee in half.
What does that mean in half if you're saying,
So it would be 1,500, no, excuse me,
1050.
1050, yep.
50.
Right now, it's 2,100 up to February,
So $25 a day as opposed to $50
$50
as
a
a
day.
penalty.
so it'll be 20.
It was February 12th, right, when he came.
Yes.
Okay. Quiet people. Need a motion.
Would you want to make a motion or Marcia,
Ah.
do you want to make a
You
motion?
want me to do the motion?
I still feel like it's quite punitive, I don't want to make a motion.
What would you suggest?
How long have you owned this property?
5 years.
25 years. And it's a $50 fee.
Yes. And it's only been the last 2 years. There was no fee before that.
I do want to remind the board, again, I believe that you own a good business in town, but the goal is not to collect late fees, that doesn't benefit us, you know. I just want to say that there were a good amount of people who were late this year who have paid the late fees, like they paid in full. And I don't believe they're gonna be late again. The last case appears to be some sort of, you know, on our end and on his end as well, there was a discrepancy, but there have been all the other ones that have paid the late fees in full up to this point. So
So we're only hearing from the people who want,
who are appealing there.
yeah. You know, we all make mistakes. I called a credit card company and said, I thought I made that payment and appealed a $29 credit card late fee. I just think this is a lot of money and it sounds like a lot was going on. A lot of innocent mistakes, no use of technology, death in the business, of an employee. I'm not personally in favor of it.
To be in favor of.
Honestly, I'm not in favor of anything, as far as the fee, but if $500 on a $50 fee is the most that I would feel made sense.
The only other thing we have to remember too is that once it was discovered, they did come forward. Did he come in person? Do you remember how that?
Yes.
Oh, Dan was in charge that day. So he came in person to find out what was going on and what happened, right?
So something I think also important to consider is, we started OpenGov in 2019. So there's, of course, going to be growing pains getting people acclimated to using an email-based system and dealing with permits online. However, that was 7 years ago. There is an expectation, I would say, for people to be familiarized with permitting software that we use. And again, this isn't just for health department. We have other departments that also are using an online permitting system. So at some point, there is a responsibility to uphold.
And this is one permit type, so we do deal with, we're only talking about dumpsters tonight, but we have for food permits, we have all of our body work, body art, pools, every other permit that we deal with is now, it has been on OpenGov for this time, so.
Madam Chair.
You know, I thought that having the fee was generous, moving from $2,100 to $1,050. I do feel like there's an expectation that if you're not comfortable using email, that you get someone to help that is, because this isn't the only permit or the only way that you're going to need to communicate about your business by email. I can appreciate that there was a change and a loss. I do see that there was an account, and it does look like, sounds like somebody had access to that email and was getting those emails. Again, my assumption after today that this won't happen again. I guess I could be on board with 500.
I'll make a motion to decrease the fee for this one time only of $500 to be paid. And please make note that whoever found this email the last time, give them a little bit of a bonus because they did kind of save you a little bit. So,
I appreciate it.
and maybe next year they'll find it earlier, but that's my motion to bring it down to a $500 fine for this year for the lateness and for one time only for this year.
All in favor?
Polly, I.
Solar eye.
Linehan, aye. And Mr. Temagna, please make a plan for the future. This is gonna come every year. So please make a plan and know that we're here to help. So if you need to come into the office to have support, we're more than willing to do that for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's not true, yeah.
Plus the 50, so 550.
550.
Yep.
Okay.
The next person, thank you. The next person is Jeff Westlake.
Dan, would you give us some background here?
Absolutely. So, Mr. Westlake, I believe you've also been receiving permits from the health department for quite some time.
Yes, 20 years. First time I've ever.
He submitted his permit on December 9th. And has been able to pay for the permit since December 9th. But the permit has not been paid. So the application has been submitted before the due date of the 31st. He submitted December 9th. However, it was not paid. So it is still not paid.
I didn't get the email saying, because you can't pay it at the moment that you make the application, which that would certainly be help, like.
Okay.
But I did find in my spam folder, but the thing is that I got I had a confirmation that I had made the permit application. So you would think that the spam filter would not, and since that came through, would have assumed that any further correspondence from Gov would also come through. And I also paid other bills with the Gov. It's never, at some point, I flagged those as wanted emails with my spam filter. I believe, so in my spam filter, I believe on the 22nd, there was an email in my spam filter when I went back saying, obviously this is right before Christmas, so I'm sorry that I'm not thinking necessarily about the dumpster permit, like, at that time. Then I didn't find out about it until the 20th of January. And if I did get any phone calls, I don't believe anybody left a message. A woodworker and myself, and a lot of the time, things are, I'm making a lot of noise, so I don't always hear my phone. They would have called my cell phone, was the phone number on the application. Maybe they called my landline if they called it by looking up my info in some other place of information. They then called my landline, which my landline is so clogged with like scam stuff these days. I don't answer it. Nobody calls me on that line. Generally haven't because the internet comes through the same company.
So just to clarify, you're right. So there was a message sent, a phone call, and the message was sent on OpenGov, like through the portal on December 22nd, that talks specifically about requiring the payment. So the permit was started, but there was no payment. And the late fee is correct in this case. It's $21.50, February 12th. And then the last one said March, but this one's January 1st, February 12th.
Could I ask a question to Anthony and Dan? When we're looking at his history here, could you clarify what no renewal linked to the account for the 2024 calendar year means? But then it looks like there was a fee paid in 2024 and there was a fee paid.
So what happens, that means December 2023 is when you would pay for year 2024.
Uh-huh.
So I guess you may not have paid for a dumpster in 2024.
So what happens sometimes too is someone will forget their login info and make another account. And so what happens is they may be paying for the permit every year, but when they make that new account, they can't access the old one, so they can't renew it. They submit a new permit. It'll show up as a non-renew, even though there's another account that they're just applying under.
Thank you. Okay.
And this is another situation where it was under 2 yards, so there was previously no fee
Well,
required.
Last 3 years.
We paid 24 and 2025. There was a fee.
Oh, correct. So like the last, so the correct.
Prior.
Yes, right.
Mr. Westlake, anything else to add?
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, as I say, I'm, I do, custom fine woodworking. I build stuff for small museums. It sounds like, I'm a specialized craftsman. It sounds like I make tons of money, but I actually really don't, sadly. So, obviously I can cry you a river, but, but as I say, I've always paid this fee. Past and so, yeah, so I missed going through my spam filter at the end of the year, so I will admit that I did that part is my fault, but it does seem excessive for.
Discussion?
I'll agree with you. So this one there was no link for 2024, but he did pay that $50 that he paid on 2024 was for 2023, right? And what he paid in December of 2025 was for 24. Am I correct?
I think it's the opposite, goes the
Yeah, I think.
forward, the next year.
He paid it, but he paid it late.
Late, okay.
Yeah, I don't believe I ever missed it.
I think it's been paid the last 2 years.
He's been paying on time.
I would consider a similar decision as to Mr. DeMagna.
Going with the 500 one-time fee, and a decrease for 500 this year only. And then something to be picked up next year, and hopefully, because I mean, like we say, we've had really good luck the last few years online. We maybe had 1 or 2 late. That's it.
Right.
I remember them all being on time one year.
Well, it looks like you,
I say if, if the acknowledgement that I made the application came through, then why wouldn't the email saying that, okay, your application's been approved, now you may pay the $50, that did not come through my spam.
Yep.
Spam fail.
It's a fair question.
Yeah.
And I'm admitting, I could lie and say, oh, that didn't happen, that wasn't my fault, but.
did you end up finding it in your junk mail or no? The
I
one,
only found it after I was noted, only after I finally got an email way after the,
Hmm,
I mean, it would also be nice, like.
so
if-
probably
if on the
because,
if on the 2nd or 3rd of January, had I gotten an email saying,
Mhm.
oh, you've missed your permit. I would have no problem paying the under the 3 days I was late or something like that. I mean, obviously.
It sounds like you saw the email from Shelby before it even was late though, right? Because that was in December. You mentioned that you saw the email from Shelby and then you said it was Christmas and kind of like got away
No,
from you.
no, that's not what I
Right.
said. Sorry, but if I made that impression, that's not what I said at all. I said that when I looked, it was when I looked back at my spam folder, I didn't see any email from Shelby or from the open gov that on the 22nd, that went to my spam folder on the 22nd. So I wasn't aware that I hadn't paid the fee or that it had been approved until whenever it was, I got the email late January that I was late.
So, which email notified you in January about being late? If it wasn't OpenGov or Shelby, but which email notified you in January?
It was Shelby.
Okay.
And but what I should, but the email that, it isn't the email that tells me that, okay, your permit's been approved, now you may pay the $50. What email is that? I don't have that. Is that open? I would think that's, is that OpenGov or is that Shelby?
Yeah, OpenGov sends an email notification once the step is available. So
Right.
once it,
I'm just wondering, with that email, is there a link or an attachment that's triggering it to go into spam? You know, because often you get an attachment or a link of something you don't get regularly, spam folder.
Mhm.
I mean, I can't.
Is it a payment link or is it an attachment for the bill? Just curious.
No, it would be a link.
A link, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to like maybe most major providers. I don't know how they're done, like, how each one works, but
Mhm.
the vast majority of people get them without being going to spam, is what I understand, because they were able to pay or they know that it's coming. So it could very well be going to spam. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wouldn't be an attached bill though. It would be the link to.
A link, yeah, okay.
Dan, you could verify, right? that you Did do that application where it
he submitted the
That-
application on December 9th.
on December 9th. Oh,
Yep.
okay.
It sounds like there's a really great system in place. It sounds like you're having really great success with the email system, which is awesome. I'm sure that's saving the town a lot of money, but it's still not perfect. You know, there's some things that need to be looked at. And I just keep coming back to the fees are very punitive for something that was not intentional. You know, if the fee were $500, and a lot of people said, I don't really want to pay $500 right now, it's a lot of money, but the fee's $50. Nobody in their right mind is going to accumulate these type of late penalties on an initial $50 payment. So,
And I believe I did the application. It's not like I didn't do the application. I tried to pay it.
yeah.
Ask you a question,
Yes.
Dan? You're the expert here now, right? when a person goes to apply for a dumpster, right, and they go on open.gov, am I correct? I've never done dumpster, I've done other permits. And it's new, it's a brand new one. It's maybe November 1st, November 2nd. So they fill out the application and then they send it to you. Is there anything saying because it's new, does it notify you anywhere that they have to do their payment, or do the people just normally call you and come in, or?
So when we receive an application, regardless of if it's a new applicant or if it's a renewal, it shows up in our system. You know, we have it shows up in chronological order. So we get notification of it to our emails, and we also see it in the system that we log in daily. With that, depending on the permit, it goes through a series of steps. And for example, food permits need to be signed off by the building, you know, town administrator's office. So it gets bounced around. But when a step advances to the next step, there is an email notification involved with that step change. Also a notification in the system. In this case, with the dumpster, he would be notified once the license fee is due. So the initial application is received and approved by us. Once we approve it, it goes to the town administrator's office for review. Once they approve it, it then goes back to the applicant to pay the licensing fee, in which an email notification is sent.
Okay, I went, because I've applied for the food permits for organizations, and I know I've gotten that, and then they get back and tell me how much it is. Okay. All right, I just wanted to see if it was the same.
If there's any public comments as well that are made in OpenGov, it also is sent as an email notification to the applicant. So if there's any comments that we have or questions, they also receive notifications of that, which was posted on December 22nd. Shelby did notify in the portal that we still needed to receive a payment. So.
And then we're thinking there was a phone call as well
Yes,
to the
correct.
phone number on file with the application.
Yes, every outstanding permit received at least 2 phone calls from December 1st onward to now. So, and that phone number is the listed phone number that the applicants use to apply for the permit. So it's the number they put in.
So 2 phone calls to a reliable phone.
So you have a record that these phone calls were made? Because I mean.
We could.
So I wasn't able to pay the $50 until December 22nd. That's when I was, that's when I found it. The email that I found was telling me your application has been approved. That was the one that went to my spam folder. This is when I went back trying to figure out what happened.
Sure.
So any phone call that I would have gotten would have been after the 22nd. So it's not very many days between 22nd and January 1st, but it's due.
Sure.
And once again, I mean, I look at my cell phone all the time, and if a message is left, it records the voicemail, and honestly, I did not receive any phone call. It wasn't until I received an email late in January telling me that my permit hadn't gone through. So that's from my perspective.
Is your voicemail able to take new incoming voicemails?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there's no restrictions on my voicemails, and
It's not full.
it shows me them. I don't even have to listen to them. I can see them printed out. And if it said somebody from the town of Wakefield, I certainly would have looked at that.
So how did you ultimately figure out, I'm sorry if you already mentioned it, I'm just trying to keep it straight, that this needed to be addressed, that there was a problem? Like
I
what?
didn't find out until it was like January 20th or something was my first email from Shelby.
And that email,
Told me that I hadn't paid the dumpster fee. And I went, what? I thought I did that.
was that an email directly from Shelby to you? Or did
Yes.
it come through OpenGov?
Yeah,
That
so
was directly from Shelby to me, and that came through my spam folder.
That wasn't through the portal. That was from Shelby herself.
Right.
Thank you.
And in emails like that, if it's from a particular person, that definitely comes through my spam filter. It's only like maybe, yeah, as I say, I'm just I don't understand why the .gov one went to my spam folder when I received the confirmation that I had done the permit. That came through the spam folder. The only point I'm making there is that I had every reason to believe that I wasn't missing anything. My perspective.
This came up, we talked about this not coming up last year rather, so everyone was able to accomplish getting their fees paid, which is great. Uh, I think to, have this come up, however it happened, and to be collecting close to $10,000 in fees on a $50 fee just seems really unfortunate.
$10,000.
Well, by the time you add them all up.
They're all,
It-
it's about
it-
eight, yeah.
yeah.
10. We're all $2,000 apiece.
Yeah, it's quite excessive on a resident, on a business owner that's been a part of our community for, years, decades even. So I, I understand that I understand that you can charge $500 a day, as you said. It just still, when something doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. That's quite a large fee.
I understand. I think for us, again, we
It's like really teach a serious lesson.
have mostly compliant, business owners, and every year we have a couple that are late and they end up paying fee. You only hears the ones that are appealing it. So again, I don't think this is the town trying to make any kind of revenue. It certainly doesn't, affect our operations or revenue. I think it's really just a way for us to, enforce, because I think we're also trying to be fair with like new businesses versus old business. Again, we're not trying to say like, someone who's been in town for a long time versus somebody who's, new. Yeah, that's,
Right.
and with that's a standard practice that we do across the board for other towns I work for at least. So again, I think the board's got a lot to consider in terms of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'll make the motion again. I'm real good at this tonight. Getting good at this.
A lot of practice.
Yeah, I have had a lot of practice. I'll make a motion that we reduce the fee, the late fee to $500. One time only, this year only. For having the lateness, and let's hope that maybe you can write in your calendar for December for next year. Put it ahead, put it in your phone, and remind yourself.
Last 20 years.
Yep, to do the application and then to follow through with the payment.
I will follow through as I have for the last 20
Mhm,
years.
yeah. That's my
I
motion.
second the motion.
All in favor?
I'm Macaulay.
Silver eye.
Linehan, I.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, Mr. Wesson.
So I'll be able to
That's all
pay
right.
this on the
Thank you.
portal.
It's available to you now.
I don't know what to say.
Next up is Kenneth. Aswani.
You're on, Dan.
Sure.
So Mr. Luciani submitted his permit application on February 12th this year. Let's see real quick. Yeah, it just seems to be a late fee the application wasn't submitted until February 12th. So
I had trouble, I tried to pay online this year in December.
I had trouble doing it, so I was gonna plan on coming down here to pay it. And I'm kind of busy right now. I'm a caregiver for my girlfriend. She has ALS. And things just slipped my mind. I tried, like I said, I had a little trouble with paying it online. I'm not very good with the cameras and stuff. And the rest is just my stupidity. I didn't get down here in time. And I forgot about it and I didn't realize it till I got a notice saying that I got a notice in February saying that there was a late fee, which I didn't know about.
Notice like an email?
Yes,
That would have been the email directly from Shelby. Did you ever receive phone calls from Shelby?
no,
Anna, you did send one out in 2025 saying that it was an upcoming.
Yeah.
Permit.
Sounds like everything went out December 22nd there.
Yeah. That was all the reminders.
That's usually our last kind of.
Looks like this has been paid for the last couple of years.
Mhm.
I've been paying it online, but this year I had trouble. When it got to the part putting your picture in, I had trouble doing that, and then I was doing it after hours that I couldn't come right down. And like I said, I just got a lot in my mind. It just slipped my mind. I really don't have a good excuse. So I'm not gonna sit here and try to make up all sorts of excuses that I didn't get emails and stuff. I got the emails that December and stuff,
I'd be willing to go this
but I
way.
didn't get an email until February that it was late.
I think that there's been a little bit of a common thing tonight that, one fully knew it and recognized it, the first one, and he came down and it was from last year and he was all upset. And it seems like they're knowing it and that's why they're appealing it, because they realize what they did, but they have been good in the past, so it's kind of the same. So I don't even know. I would just go ahead really and truly and make a motion to decrease it and put it to $500 across the board this year, one time
I
only,
agree.
one time only.
Mm.
And
It won't happen again.
Yeah.
and then just, like I said, put it in your calendar for next year. I have to do that and.
Oh, I'll remember.
Marcy, would you second that motion?
I will second the motion, but I do have a quick question. On the permit fee, on the permit application, does it have information about the penalty? Because I'm just trying to think how we're not ending up here again next year. Because given what it is, I think it would make people pay attention. And so I'm just curious if it goes out on the application. That's.
Yeah,
It does say that, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so let's put that to a vote. I have a second.
Okay.
All in
Second.
favor?
All in favor.
Silver eye.
Macaulay, aye.
Linehan, aye. All right.
Okay, thank you. It is available.
Thank you, Mr. Luciani.
Thank you.
Check right now?
Yes, please. Yep. You can. Okay, so.
Dan, thank you. Anthony, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Here, right here.
If the board is ready, the next agenda item is the discussion and vote on creative policy. This is not new to the board. This has been several meetings to discuss this. So we have a few folks online, that want to give comment on. That want to give comment on this portion of the meeting. I see a few hands raised. For everybody online, if you are looking to comment, please raise your hand. We also have someone in person here. Holly is actually someone who worked on the original regulation in Drake. In Lowell.
Okay.
So I would, if the board's okay with it, if you want to, we can go through.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
We can go through all the attendees online and then Holly has some information to present based on her experience at Lowell, if that's okay.
Okay. Would you like to go first since you're here in person or?
It doesn't matter. I would have stayed for it all anyway.
Thanks for being so patient.
So if you want. up to-
And how many individuals do we have who are looking to
two?
participate?
Like two people?
I think there's more that we can't see.
Looks like there's 10 hands raised right now.
3 minutes.
So yeah, let's just remind everyone to limit their comments to 3 minutes.
Okay, so if you're okay with it, I'll just.
Please,
I'll
yeah,
hold them up.
go.
Just for Garrison Hall.
Yeah, once we're done. Yeah.
Finish these folks first.
Yes, Melody Wolf.
Hi, how are you doing this evening?
Well,
Well,
thank you.
thank
Are we doing?
3.
Oh, okay. Melody, just so everybody on Zoom knows, we're doing 3 minutes for participation.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Melody Wolf, and I'm here calling you from Kalamazoo, Michigan. And I'm asking you to follow the HHS, FDA, and the NIDA guidance on kratom. I spent February 17th to the 20th with regulators and scientists from every U.S. healthcare agency. None of them talked about a ban of any kind except an age gate. That included our keynote speaker, Dr. Nora Volko, the director of NIDA. She gave the same favorable stance on kratom as she did at the 2023 U.S. congressional briefing on kratom. This tracks with the joint HHS and FDA press briefing where I was asked to talk about the benefits of kratom, how it has helped me as a daily 12-year consumer, and to distinguish it from 7-OH, which is a full agonist, and I would support banning that tonight if you could. And the commissioner and the HHS secretary could not have been clear to all of the news events that they did after it. They said the difference between 7-OH and kratom is night and day. I've had severe pain for over 20 years. 8 of those I spent bedridden, needing a walker and wheelchair at times. My kids had to have fans in the rooms at night to cover up the sounds of their mom crying in pain every night. And this was all when they were in elementary school. This all started. I lost all of their childhoods. I didn't find kratom until my youngest was in high school. Enter kratom. I no longer need mobility aids. I still have pain every day, yet it's manageable. And this past summer, I spent 4 months chasing my granddaughter around every single park within walking distance. And I took her to the zoo every Friday. It was my job. I performed full-time childcare for her because her mom and dad had a $20,000 home repair that they had to have. And childcare is really expensive, so I was able to save them $6,000. And so that very zoo where I pushed my granddaughter around as an infant and then chased her around, that was the very same zoo where my kids had to push me around in a wheelchair. So I would just very much hope that you would put 7-OH off the shelves and put an age gate on sales. That would be wonderful. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf.
Thank you. Next person, William Reagan.
Yes, hi, how you doing? I go by Jeff. I'm in Gloucester, Virginia. Thanks for trying to understand our point of view. A lot of places just go ahead and come in with their preconceived notions, but it's turned into a very controversial subject. I started kratom in 2016. It helps reduce my pain a great deal. It takes the edge off tremendously. I have degenerative disc disease, osteoarthritis, spinal stenosis, and sciatica, and I've had 3 surgeries. It's also, amazingly so, reduced my craving for alcohol. A guy at work said, you need to try some kratom for pain. I did, and then I was a bad alcoholic. We only got 3 minutes, but I kept my wine in there and week after week after week until I'm not drinking. So I love that. I also, my kratom, I call it kratom instead of kratom. I won't get it unless there's a lab analysis that shows metals and biotics, bacteria, things of that nature. I just used the natural leaf. I don't like the synthetic stuff at all. I know synthetic stuff is bad, fentanyl, the fake marijuana stuff. It's just, But anyway, I get it. Make sure it's lab tested and on a good manufacturing products list. I've never used 7OH, jacked up kratom, anything more than a 1%. You'll notice if you read the material that Melody was talking about, 2% or less for natural leaf. Anything else has been zoomed up or is synthetic. And the KCPA is got good. If you've seen it, it's in 15 other states. It's got good restrictions and safeguards, for children and synthetics and things of that nature. So anyway, I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Take care.
Thank you, Mr. Regan.
Yes.
Okay, the next person is Laura Romney.
Hi there, how are you?
Good.
Good evening.
Hey, so my name is Laura Romney. I'm actually based out of Utah. I'm actually the president of International Plant and Herbal Alliance. I've actually emailed you in the past with some really critical information and some kratom education that I'm happy to again answer any questions on. I have extensive experience with this, mainly because I'm a 9-year patient myself, 14-year patient, but I have been taking kratom daily for 9 years. I have a condition called atypical trigeminal neuralgia, which gives me severe facial nerve pain where I literally cannot function without pain medication. It's difficult with the opioid crisis right now that's in full swing. Patients can absolutely not get pain medication. I'm on numerous Facebook groups of people that are pleading all through the country where their doctors have taken away everything from them or given them a very tiny dose. And they're committing suicide. It's bad. And so now comes along many years ago, this kratom, natural plant kratom, which has been an absolute miracle for patients because it helps control their pain and bring it down to actual livable levels. But what's so hard now is, I'm speaking on behalf of all those out there who are frantic. I know there are people in Massachusetts that rely on kratom products. And, taking that away is again dismissing their lives. So I know today, because I'm familiar with some of the people who are going to speak today, they will talk about the deaths of their adult children. And that is tragic, but I'm telling you, the thousands and thousands of lives that this plant has saved. I'm so sorry. Shot my face. Work at home. So the thousands of lives that have been saved are, just as valuable. Also, just make sure that you actually look at the science on this. There is a lot of science. I was actually at the same symposium that Melody was at, and we actually heard from the professionals all over the globe who have studied kratom and people like, again, NIDA. And the FDA has found that kratom is safe and it has great potential. And so, again, I just plead with you that you actually look at the facts and that you get the education. Because if you just base your decision on emotion, then you are doing a disservice to all of those who actually have studied the science and that know the safety. But the one last thing is 7OH and synthetics 100% belong off your shelf. They are the ones that are giving the severe withdrawals. They are causing people to have to go into rehab centers. They are full opioids. They will suppress breathing. Whereas, again, I'm telling you, I heard it from the mouth of the director of NIDA. Kratom is not an opioid and it will not suppress breathing. So anyway, I just wanted to give you that testimony. I'm happy to answer any questions today. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
The next person is Susan.
Hello, my name's Susan Eppard. And I support banning all forms of kratom. My 22-year-old son, Matthew, died from natural whole leaf kratom powder, which is the least potent form of kratom available in the United States. It caused him to have a seizure and go into cardiac arrest and die, and they were unable to resuscitate him. His toxicology showed he died from the toxic effects of atragenine. It's an alkaloid found only in kratom. He had no prescription drugs, no street drugs, nor alcohol in his system when he died, according to toxicology. And his autopsy showed he had no underlying health conditions. And it's important to note that my son did not die from 7-OH or 7-hydroxymetragynine, as he died in 2021, and 7-OH wasn't started being concentrated or semi-synthesized until 2023. And the kratom industry recklessly denies that kratom alone causes death. And there are always other substances involved, which is untrue. And even when there are substances found in kratom deaths, the highly trained medical examiners determine the cause of death according to known lethal amounts of each substance. The highly addictive kratom is the main ingredient necessary to make semi-synthetic forms of kratom like 7-OH. And if that is still available, anybody can go on the internet and still make 7-OH if you leave kratom whole leaf powder available. I belong to the nonprofit group Kratom Danger Awareness, a group comprised of people whose loved ones died from kratom. Many have died from kratom only, and others have died with combinations with typical amounts of either kratom and alcohol, kratom and Benadryl, or kratom and antidepressants, etc. And most of our loved ones who died from kratom were over the age of 21. So age restriction would not have saved most of our children. Matthew was the youngest of my 6 children, and he would have been 27 years old in 4 days, but he'll be forever 22. And my whole family has been completely devastated. And this has consumed my entire life advocating to save other people's children. And please just do what you think would be best for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Next person is Dan Gibbs.
Wakefield Board of Health. My name is Dan Gibbs. On December 6, 2023, my 25-year-old son Austin died from metragynine toxicity after ingesting retail kratom leaf products. His toxicity identified no illicit opioids, no fentanyl, no heroin, no prescription opioids, and no isolated 7-hydroxymetragynine products. His death was ruled metragynine toxicity, with autopsy findings including pulmonary edema and frothy airway fluid consistent with opioid-type respiratory depression. This was natural leaf kratom sold in a smoke shop. You'll hear here today it's just a plant. Opium is also a plant. Even Mac Haddow of the American Kratom Association has acknowledged that natural does not mean safe. Metragynine and 7-hydroxymetragynine are mu-opioid receptor agonists. They bind to and activate on the same receptor targeted by morphine, oxycodone, heroin, and fentanyl. Metragynine is also metabolized to 7-hydroxymetragynine, metragynine, and metragynine pseudoindoxyl compounds with potent opioid receptor activity, whether sold as natural leaf or concentrated products. Federal review is still not complete. I heard a misquote. I think it was Laura that said the FDA has stated that kratom is safe. That is not true. The FDA has not approved kratom for any medical use and has not determined that kratom products are safe. The agency has warned consumers not to use kratom or its psychoactive compounds and has reported serious adverse health effects and death associated with kratom products. It's on their website right now. The FDA has also acknowledged that research into kratom's effects is ongoing, including an ascending dose study not expected to conclude until 2027. Age limits do not change receptor binding. Labeling does not alter metabolism. Percentage caps do not eliminate opioid activity. At public hearings across the country, kratom users often testify that they use only natural leaf and that it's safe. In the same testimony, they acknowledge that natural kratom contains 7-OH, while also describing it as strong enough to replace morphine, heroin, fentanyl, or opioids, explaining that it relieves pain, allows them to get out of bed, allows them to work, and saves their lives. Kratom cannot be both harmless and powerful enough to replace opioids, relieve serious pain, and sustain daily functioning because it acts on the same mu-opioid receptor. Repeated testimony describes daily dosing to function or avoid withdrawal is not evidence of safety. It reflects pharmacology potency and dependence. Board of Health exists to act when products are being sold without adequate safety safeguards. My son Austin is gone. Nothing this board can bring him back. But what you can decide may determine whether another family experiences the same loss. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson.
Next person is Kelly McCann.
Hi. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Kelly McCann, and I'm in speaking in support for banning kratom in its entirety. I live in Montana, but I advocate nationally because this is not just a state-to-state issue, but one about humanity. And my son received his kratom from an out-of-state vendor, and he took it to manage. His name is Benjamin, and he took it to manage his psoriatic arthritis pain. And Benjamin was led to believe that it was a safe and healthy alternative to prescription drugs and about as harmless as coffee. This belief cost him his life, and it cost me my oldest child and only son. I never imagined I would have to fight this hard to simply protect others the same fate. After Benjamin died, the coroner told me they found bags of kratom on his kitchen counter. She did not assume that that's what he died from because of that. In fact, she had never heard of kratom before. She ordered an autopsy and toxicology. In the meantime, I was in shock and going through all kinds of scenarios in my head: heart attack, embolism, undiagnosed condition, and so forth, because he was 40 years old. I looked up kratom and was stunned. I had no idea of its past and current controversy. Although I became aware there was a possibility it played a role in Benjamin's death, I did not assume it was the cause. I waited for his autopsy and toxicology results. And you know what? The death of your child is emotional, as you can imagine. But the facts, I have the facts. I'm not going just on emotion. I have read his toxicology. I have read his autopsy, over and over again. So that is a fact from a qualified medical professional. Although what I also found shocking were the reactions to the families who shared the experience of losing loved ones to this substance by many of in the kratom community. Families were accused of weaponizing their grief. They were referred to as anti-kratom zealots. You know what? And I have nothing against a natural substance. I have against something that's killing people. And then these are just the mild comments. It took me a while before I was brave enough and ready to speak publicly. One response to my first public comment was that it would have been heroin if my son hadn't consumed kratom. And my thoughts were, why is it comparable to heroin? And you know what? I did a newspaper article, and you should read some of the comments that they write, that your son didn't die from kratom. You owe us to show your autopsy results, which I do show that to the appropriate people. But there is no way in the kratom community I would, after how I've seen how they respond. We do share them, but we share them with the appropriate people. My son was an advocate for kratom when the DEA attempted to ban it. I found one of his comments that kratom was as benign as coffee. This is a statement I have witnessed over and over again from kratom advocates. My son's toxicology and death certificates prove otherwise. I have yet to see a debate about whether or not we should ban coffee to ensure public safety. Kratom is mitragynine and 7-OH among the 40 plus alkaloids.
Kelly, I'm
They are
sorry.
part of part of the whole.
Could you wind
If
down your
kratom,
comments?
if kratom remains legal, so does access to its alkaloids. And look at where it's at. I mean, we're not having all these derivatives
Kelly,
of coffee,
Kelly,
but we are
we
from
appreciate your
kratom.
comments. We're just trying to be fair and have everybody limit.
Oh, sorry. Thank
I'm
you.
sorry. Yeah, that's okay. If
Please
you
do
want
not
to finish
allow
your
these
thought,
tragedies to
move on.
continue.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. McCann.
The next person is Shannon Lee.
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I hear you.
Hi. Good evening, board members. I'm Shannon, a lifelong resident here in Massachusetts. I found natural kratom in 2017. It changed my life when it came to my chronic lower back pain. I just wanted to say there are a lot of people like me right here in Mass that are terrified to know that terrified to know that people will suffer in pain if natural kratom is totally banned. It doesn't just affect our state, but our whole country as a whole. The pain and suffering I've experienced, I cannot even begin to explain what I went through. I am a healthcare worker, and I cannot imagine trying to work in pure agony. Please, instead of banning natural kratom, please consider looking into regulating it. Our neighbor Rhode Island banned kratom kratom in 2017. The scientific research was done, and they reversed the ban on kratom as of April 1st, 2026. The FDA announced in the July 29th, 2025 press conference that they are not interested in scheduling kratom, that they only want I'm sorry, that they only want to ban synthetic 7-OH. Recently, Amherst and South Hadley passed their ordinances that regulate natural kratom and ban 7-OH. I ask that you please take my testimony and others into account, and and the many others who reached out, and to protect our access to natural relief. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.
Next person is Wendy Chamberlain.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Wendy Chamberlain, and I'm the founder of Kratom Danger Awareness, Inc., a nonprofit organization created after the death of my only son and child. I'm from New York, a next door neighbor. He died on August 30th, 2020 from metragine toxicity, the primary drug in kratom. He had no underlying health conditions, or did he use illicit drugs, opioids, prescription meds, or alcohol. I had never heard of the word kratom until I lost my son. He was 38 years old, a father of 3, a small business owner. He did not struggle with anything. He loved life. He used kratom because it was marketed as natural, safe product for energy. The product he used was Remarkable Herbs, a GMP labeled whole leaf kratom powder sold openly in a local store. It was also a vendor prominently promoted by the AKA. For nearly 3 years, he used the same product. He bought it at the same store, believing it was safe because it was sold legally and marketed as a natural supplement. One evening, my son simply sat down to watch TV and fell asleep and never woke up again. His autopsy listed metragine toxicity as the cause of death. Since Joseph's death, I have spoken with families across the country who have lost loved ones under very similar circumstances. Yet time and time again, we hear our loved ones' deaths dismissed with statements like kratom deaths are only rare, or there must have been something else involved. I want to be very clear. Medical examiners across the United States have ruled kratom's primary alkaloid, metragine, is a cause of death in multiple cases, including my son's. Now we are hearing the narrative that these deaths are somehow only related to 7-OH, a derivative being discussed in recent legislation. But my son died in 2020, years before. His death certificate does not say 7-OH. Families like mine should not have to fight to have the truth recognized. Local communities in Wakefield have the authority to act on products present a public risk. Kratom is currently sold in gas stations, smoke shops, convenience stores with no FDA approval or standardized dosing, and very little oversight. For families like mine, the consequences have been irreversible. Imagine only having your memories in a death certificate to look at. I respectfully urge Wakefield Board of Health to ban the sale of kratom in its entirety within your community, rather than pursuing partial measures and leave dangerous products available. No parent should have to learn the word kratom the way I did from their child's death certificate. Thank you for allowing me to share my son's story.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Chamberlain.
Next person's Misty Brown.
Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Misty Brown, and I'm a kratom advocate, activist, and consumer from Colorado.
Good evening.
I dealt with death myself. In 2012, I found my 35-year-old brother dead. He fell asleep, never woke up. When I thought something was wrong with him, I immediately called 911, picked him up off the bed, put him on the floor to do CPR. Now I'm telling you this because nothing was wrong with him. He didn't know he had an underlying health condition. He died from heart failure, just like my dad died 9 months earlier, prior to that, from heart failure. And I'm telling you this because that right there, living in that moment, causing that PTSD, catapulted me into my opiate addiction that I had. I suffered with opiate addiction, benzo addiction, and muscle relaxer addiction for 11 years straight from 2008 to 2019. And it wasn't until June of 2019 when Well, April 2019, I got fired from my chronic pain management doctor. I'm actually looking at a prescription bottle that I saved. Last time I got the pills filled was April 6th, 2019. I got fired because I didn't show up for a per contract pill count. And so I went to the streets and I started doing cocaine because I tried to rationalize it with myself, saying snorting cocaine would be better than injecting heroin. My next stop was doing heroin. But I was in cocaine withdrawal in June of 2019, and I watched that documentary, A Leaf of Faith. And the very next day was when I walked into a smoke shop and I bought whole leaf kratom powder. I was ID'd. It was sitting behind a glass counter. That's where my journey began. So you guys sitting over there wanting to contemplate, banning the sale of kratom in your community, you are stopping somebody's recovery pathway like how I managed to find mine. It matters. It makes a difference to be able to just walk in and trust me, I was not looking for a recovery when I found kratom. I was just looking for something to help with my withdrawals. But here I am over 6.5 years later, living my life. My kids didn't have to bury me. I know I would have became an illicit fentanyl statistic. That's the pathway I was going. But excuse my language, but holy kratom cock blocked that for me. Thank you for allowing me this time to speak.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Next person is Christopher Dini.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, okay.
Hello. I just wanted to give you my story. I'm almost 51 years old. I just went through vascular surgery because I had blockages in my legs. Knew I had some issues going on because at 36 I had a heart attack. So when I was 8 years old, I was prescribed opiates from a car accident. I took those opiates probably through about my late 20s. I get a little emotional about it because I wish I would have found kratom back then. I'm talking about it's just a leaf from a tree. It's ground down into a tea. And that's it. My life would have been so much different if I would have found about kratom in my 20s. It took me until 40 years old to really have pain management that worked for me. Opiates wasn't I have nothing against opiates. It's just, I lived in a fog throughout my teenage years. It was very hard for me. I remember leaving school at 12, 13 years old because my parents were bringing me to chiropractors, trying anything possible just to relieve my pain. I couldn't even sit in school. So when I say I wish I would have found kratom, I really wish I would have, because kratom doesn't only just help with the pain. What it does, it works on different systems of your body. So it actually creates a calm feeling. It actually has opiate blockers. So the opiate blockers actually help people come off opiates. This leaf's been used traditionally as sacred medicine in Southeast Asia for hundreds of years. Traditionally, they would pluck a leaf off a tree or they'd make tea like we do. They just take 20, 30 leaves, throw it into boiling water and drink it all day long. There's no deaths in Southeast Asia from kratom. There has been numerous reports of adulteration over the years. And I think that's where some of the problems come into play. Products are being made, put on the market. They call them kratom. They're not kratom. I understand that some people may have medication interactions or health issues where kratom could come into play, and it's a plant medicine. We should understand about that. Anything can have interactions. St. John's wort, a lot of these other herbal products that, we're probably very familiar with. Don't drink grapefruit juice with your cholesterol medicine. These are just things we're learning about this plant. Now, the American Herbal Products Association put kratom into their handbook in 2024, and they go over all the safety and everything about this plant. So there is a place for this. This plant has been used. There's millions of people that have used it. And I personally know myself, my life is in a much better place now because I found kratom. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dini.
Thank you.
Last person on Zoom is Ali Smith.
Hi, can you see me, hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Fabulous. Okay. My name's Allison Smith. I'm the Director of Government Affairs for the Global Kratom Coalition. We're an organization, we work with consumers, manufacturers, and researchers to translate their experiences and knowledge into public policy. I'm based in Washington, D.C., where I work at the federal level on kratom policy as well as at the local level. Just a little bit of background for me. Previously to joining GKC, I worked to close the federal loophole on intoxicating hemp products. I'm from a state that was impacted by opioids. My family was impacted by opioids, so this is like a very personal thing for me. Is preventing access to intoxicating and dangerous substances. I do want to say that, it's pretty clear we've distinguished between natural kratom and 7-OH. The same bad actors who worked in the intoxicating hemp space, taking these products and turning them into dangerous ones, are the same people who are now turning kratom into 7-OH. They don't care about the individuals who get benefits from natural kratom. They want you to ban it, and then they'll turn around and turn something else into a chemically potent substance. So I'm here to ask for regulation as a baseline to keep kratom products, all kratom products, out of the hands of children. I recommend a 21 plus age gate at the point of sale, and I'm happy to discuss further regulation with you as well. Banning seems like an easy solution. It's not, and it's something that you'll have to revisit when the state and federal regulations come through, which I can assure you they are. And I'm a little disorganized, so I apologize. I hadn't had a moment to write my testimony, but I had a friend who passed away last week from childbirth, and my boyfriend passed away in college from a car wreck. I'm no stranger to death. Anything and everything assumes risk. Anytime you leave your house, you can die from consuming too much water. And while I sympathize with those who have experienced loss in any capacity, there are 23 million people who benefit from consumption of natural kratom products. And we're just now really seeing adverse reactions because of deaths from polydrug use, medical conditions, or tampered products or adulterated substances. And so, I'm happy to provide research on the safety of natural kratom, but two things I want to flag is Frontiers in Psychology did a peer-reviewed essay that was published last year discussing adverse reactions and how, again, if there are reactions, there's other factors. And then there is a forensic toxicologist that did a presentation with NMS Labs earlier this year. I'll send you the link for it. That discusses the differences between kratom and 7-OH and actually goes through some of the toxicology reports where you have 1,000 nanograms of mitragynine and a quote unquote acute mitragynine poisoning. And he says these are from synthetic substances. There's no way you can hit that level consuming natural kratom.
Ellie, thank you.
Yeah.
We're just trying to keep up. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allie.
Okay, that is all the comments on Zoom that we have. And then just for the board's information, we have Holly, who was part of the original regulation on kratom in Lowell.
Okay.
Would you like to seat up there?
Thank you.
I'll make extra. So in your packets, you have written testimony as well that was sent to us. Sent to us as well. And then this, I will make extra copies of. This is just testimony that was given to us from a Lowell board member.
Thank you. My name is Holly Trubel, and I'm here speaking to you not only as a 20-year Massachusetts educator, but as a mom who lost her only child to kratom. My 25-year-old son, Tyrell, died February 6, 2024 from a trigenine toxicity. It was his sole cause of death, no secondary causes, no opioids in his system. The only thing Tyrell ingested of kratom was from a seltzer drink that was marketed as sugar-free, alcohol-free, and caffeine-free. He was my only child in the light of my life. He was born in Lowell, Mass, graduated from Drake High, and served Massachusetts as an Army reservist at Fort Devens. I'm not a lobbyist making money or a store owner making money, nor a user. I'm just a destroyed and grieving parent whose only goal here is to prevent another parent from feeling the complete and utter devastation I feel on a daily basis. Regulation does not work. It does not become safe just because you turn 21. The majority of deaths are men over the age of 21. That is scientifically factual. That's not my opinion. And mitragynine does convert into 7-OH in the liver. That is also scientific. That's not opinion. And for those who say it helps veterans, because a lot of people do, this year all armed forces ban kratom, and you can be punished under the Uniform Military Code of Justice. My son was a member of the Army Reserves, and kratom did not save him from dying. You'll hear that advocates in the lobbies, like you have, advocating, saying that coroners may have got it wrong or that it's safe depending on the dosage. I ask you then, to anyone that, you know, in favor of not banning kratom tonight, who determines the dosing regulation when the FDA has not approved it and there's an import alert to this day into the US? So if it gets seized, when they find it, they seize it. So it's coming under the guise of other things, sometimes seaweed, sometimes other things. So where is the safety and regulation in that? How do you determine it? Is whole leaf kratom? Who's determining that? Well, the answer will be, well, maybe, you know, scientists say the dose is right. But in reality, doctors haven't stated what dose it is. It is the consumer determining their dose. It is the American Kratom Association working with consumer businesses, because it's $1 billion industry, working with them to determine dosage. It's not doctors. And the issue isn't about punishing adults or stigmatizing recovery. It's about acknowledging that an opioid active substance with unpredictable potency, documented withdrawal, and confirmed fatal outcomes cannot be safely normalized through labeling and education alone. Every major drug crisis in this country follows the same pattern: reassurance first and then accountability later. Lastly, people say our stories are anecdotal, but what greater truth is there than a death certificate in a gravesite for my son? And I just wanted to add that Connecticut did just schedule it as a Schedule I drug 5 days ago, and Ohio has it up for a Schedule I for unnatural and all. They did an emergency one for synthetic, and they have that in Spokane, Washington, the second biggest city in Washington State, banned all kratom yesterday. Foxborough and Yarmouth banned it Monday. So we have, I gave that, there's 18 towns with a full ban in cities in Mass, at least 18. There's only 2 that were mentioned with the regulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm sure you covered it.
Thank you.
All right, that's what we have for public comments.
So just for the board's information, so the board has received this information in the past. There's been resources provided. I hope the board has had a chance to at least think about this or read about this in the interim. This would be a good time for the board to ask any questions. What I did was I did provide a draft regulation. This is very close to the regulations passed in many other towns that ban kratom. This one also includes synthetically derived cannabinoids, so that would include THC, not kratom. But that one's already not allowed for sale, so that would give us the opportunity to regulate THC at the local level as well, separate from kratom. But in terms of kratom, this is information that we've received over time. We've really worked with our region. Maureen can actually speak on some of that work that's been done. Medford is one of our communities in our region that has already pursued this. We have our other 2 communities are also looking into a complete ban of kratom. You know, you've heard a lot of testimony, but a lot of the facts remain that there is no authority, there's no reliable scientific authority out there that has claimed kratom to be a safe product. The most we've seen is that kratom may need to be studied more. That's the most generous that I've seen in terms of research or in terms of content. Otherwise, it is shown to have many dangerous side effects. It is highly unregulated. This goes from the FDA to the Mayo Clinic. There has been no conclusive study that kratom is safe to use or has any consistent beneficial effects. And that is not to denigrate any of the testimony that's been provided by anybody and their personal experience. That is just what is available currently. What we've also seen from a publication in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health, they did a study of samples purchased at different stores of kratom, labeled by the manufacturer, and they found that there were wide ranges of 7-OH in the packaging. There was no standard availability of those compounds in there. They also found lots of heavy metals in there, as well as other contaminants as well. There just is not a way for us to currently regulate. There's been some suggestions of us only regulating 7-OH, of a newer product, but just at this time, there is no way for us to do that. There's no labeling requirements. Manufacturers will produce, this product and not be able to mention what the ingredients are in there, to any credibility. So, Maureen, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I would just like to add, because I'm in the stores, so I see these products. I've mentioned, Elaine, you've been on the board for a long time. I've mentioned these going way back quite a bit. I initially saw just powdered kratom, then I started to see kratom in capsules, and then kratom soda, kratom chews, kratom pops, kratom tinctures that you can add to, and on and on and on. And if you go into virtually any like gas station, mini mart, or convenience store here in Wakefield or any of the surrounding towns, you will see these products. Look behind the counter. Typically, the bags are green. You can spot them pretty readily. And I've seen the volume of stock in these stores grow and grow. The different types, but also the volume, the space that is taken up in the store, and that's always an indicator of a market. Stores tend to be small, so they're not going to stock things in your view if they're not selling them. Also, I did want to mention Tracy hasn't been able to appear here, right? So Tracy, so who many of you know from her past work here, but she is now the I forget, social services coordinator in Stoneham. I always forget the title, social services coordinator in Stoneham. And she talked at a Stoneham meeting recently about the number of, so she works with people in recovery or trying to get into recovery, have substance abuse issues. And she expressed huge concern because not only does she see people who have become addicted to kratom, but she has seen families that are really suffering because of an addicted family member who is actually stealing, say, jewelry. Gold prices are high right now. So she mentioned reports of people stealing jewelry from family members to turn it into cash because they've got a $50 a day habit. It's a kratom habit, not an opioid habit. So I've been concerned for a long time. I brought products to different meetings and, shared as much as I could to raise community awareness about this because one, I received CDC advisories about kratom. And if you just Google it, you'll see one, Anthony already mentioned that, there's the FDA has found no reason to support use of this in any medicinal way, but also that both the synthetic and the natural leaf cause seizures and other issues, including death. So trying to separate those two and say one is better than the other, no, they all can cause these symptoms and cause death, as we've heard from some of the testimony tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen.
Does the board have any questions regarding the regulation, regarding kratom itself?
So this municipal legislation, this is what you're proposing?
No, so that's actually someone had said, that was part of someone's testimony.
Oh,
So this,
okay.
It is packet that I handed.
This is one here, the last one we gave you.
It starts with regular.
You just gave me this.
Yeah,
which is
but
not
you've got
the same
this
as
one
that.
before, you should have had.
On the end of this to us.
And
It's underneath your min.
yeah.
Right over the top of your binder.
Underneath, yeah, right there, that first.
Sorry, that is the proposal.
That's it there.
This is,
This is the regulation. Compared to what I read.
I think this is all. I appreciate everybody sharing their opinion. And I think one thing that gives me pause is that I don't know if we've adequately discussed synthetic THC. I don't know if this conversation has really brought that in. I know we've talked about kratom and kratom products. Am I misunderstanding that like these are two separate things? Right? And so I think if we were going to consider any sort of policy, I think I would feel better if we were focusing on kratom alone, because that's what I was prepared to discuss tonight. I'm not opposed to discussing synthetic THC in the future, but I don't know if these are two things that we should be having in the same policy. I feel like they each may deserve their own policy.
So if it's, again, we can do that. I just want to make sure, so adult use marijuana is legal. So this is not an infringement on already legal products.
Right.
So the synthetic THC, Delta 8, 10, synthetically derived are already not allowed in Massachusetts. That's not a local regulation, that's a state regulation.
Right.
This would just give us the ability as a local board to also regulate, and instead of just the Cannabis Control Commission. So it wouldn't be creating a new regulation in the state. It would just be for us locally to be able to also enforce the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I wonder still if it should be sort of
Yeah,
like pulled.
I do agree with her because I think there was a lot of confusion. And I think the main thing now is with the Kratom, because there's a couple of other towns I've been working with their policies and listening to them. The whole thing is whether or not it's synthetic or not. And I think when we do the regulation, that's what we have to do. We have to really and truly concentrate on just the Kratom, nothing else with it at this time. And do that again at another time would be great to really do
Yeah,
that.
because I think we should discuss it.
Yeah.
I'll admit that I need to learn more about the regulations surrounding synthetic THC.
So the board also has the option to just pass just the Kratom portion.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was something about at least this proposal that made me pause. I can speak about my feelings if
You go right ahead, your
Okay.
chair.
I have a lot of concerns about this. I appreciate both sides sharing their opinion. But as a healthcare provider, I like to lean on the science as much as I'm able. And this is not regulated by the FDA. And since it's not regulated, it's impossible to know what is in each package, whether it's synthetic, whether it's not. And then aside from that, does it even matter? Because whether it's synthetic or not, it doesn't seem like this is something that we should be selling in our town. I feel like it makes sense to strongly consider banning this for sale.
I do agree. I've heard a lot of discussion with nursings across the country. And I know I was kind of like saying, oh yeah, it'll be natural. Maybe that's the right thing. And then I'm going, well, wait a minute. How do I know it really is natural? Nobody's paying attention to who's buying this, who's selling it. It's not FDA approved. So how do we know? They could tell you it's all natural, but it might not be. And I agree with you. I think the data that we've seen is the danger, more danger. And I think more research has to be done. And I think that banning everything completely is the way to go, because then we know that at least then it's not allowed. So we're not going to see either natural, somebody's going to say, oh, I took the natural and I was fine, or I took the natural and this happened. Anything can happen, but I think doing everything across the board is the way.
I agree. And I don't think there's utility in restricting it by age. I think if it's
no.
bad for the goose, it's bad for the gander.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Well, I just got access to my email today. I've had no email for almost the entire month of February, as you probably know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, how did you guys
Me
know?
too. I did. I have trouble.
You didn't, so I did get an email from
Yeah.
Liz in late January. So you had,
I get that up until a certain day in February, and then everything is like, I don't know where it's gone.
We've had a changeover.
I figured it out.
You figured it
I can
out?
share later.
Oh, good.
I also
thought it
struggled,
was
but
me
I figured
today.
it out earlier this week with the help of IT.
Oh,
Mr.
There was
Valley.
a changeover for all of our.
yeah.
yeah, I had to have IT help me as well. So
Yeah.
today I finally was able to access my email. Since early February, I had no access. And last thing I saw I mentioned was Liz had sent me an email, and norovirus had gone through our work. So we all got it like twice. It was fabulous. So I wasn't feeling up to responding that day, and I said, I'll respond tomorrow. And I go in, and that's when I discover I'm locked out. So I frantically tried to print some of this stuff so I could sit and review it today, because I'm still behind the 8 ball on it with no access. I also would like to learn a lot more. I do see both sides, and I wonder why the FDA, has not regulated it if it's so dangerous. And it does sound like there's been some really tragic outcomes, so there's certainly danger there. I just personally would need more time to make a decision, to vote today, because I literally just got a lot of this stuff today.
If the board, there's no obligation to vote on anything tonight. I mean, it's every meeting we've had so far with this material. I'm happy to provide them in print again. if that's helpful, we've provided some information in the past. So if you want it all in one packet, we can also do that for you as well.
Well, no, I printed everything because I had my grandchildren today, so I'm trying to read it and, watch them as well. I had so little time to deal with
Yeah,
it.
it's okay.
But I had wanted to go to, stores and see what you're seeing because I'm sure it's alarming. I haven't seen it before. I'm certain it's very alarming. But I just feel like I personally need a little more time because I'm not educated enough on it at this moment to make a decision.
Then perhaps we can make a plan to be prepared for the next meeting.
Yeah.
I would have been prepared today had I had access
I
to my
vote-
email.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that would be good to table it till the next meeting for a vote. That's fine. I'll make the motion if you want to table it till the next.
I don't even know
meeting
if we
for
need a
vote.
motion.
Do we need a motion to table it till the next meeting for a vote?
No, you don't have to.
You're welcome to. I don't
Yeah,
think
we
anything
can
bad
do
will
it.
come
We
of
can
the
always
motion.
be safe. Better to be safe
Yeah.
than sorry.
All right, so why don't you go ahead and make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we table the vote on the Kratom till the next meeting in April.
Can I get a second, please?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Silva, aye.
Macaulay, aye.
And I. And so let's make our plan to really focus on Kratom. I think when we, maybe at next meeting, we'll decide what we decide, and then from there we can consider moving forward specifically on synthetic THC. That sounds like it's a little bit more straightforward since it seems to be, there's legislation at the state level. We just need to kind of get ours consistent with theirs. Is that what I'm getting?
It's actually illegal already.
Oh.
Right.
It's just a matter of who can enforce it. So right now with all cannabis products, only the CCC, and they just don't have agents out enforcing it.
Okay.
So this, if you did that part of it, separating it from Kratom, just leaving it, what this says is the Board of Health could enforce it. So then the Board of Health would appoint whoever they wanted. They could say, Anthony, we want you to enforce it, or the food inspector, or the tobacco person. So now as an agent of yours, I can go into a store, and when I see a tobacco product that's not legal, I can tell the store they have to get rid of it. If I see THC, what I do now, and it's not a tobacco product, but I carry a copy of the MDAR's letter, Mass Department of Agricultural Resources,
Saw that.
they regulate hemp products. So I send them, I give them a copy of that letter, and I just say, oh, maybe you haven't seen this, or probably you realize, or whatever, and I give them the letter which tells them which products they can sell, and this is not one of them.
Okay.
So but I'm not fining them. I'm not giving them much of an incentive not to do it because I just say you shouldn't be doing it. And this would change that and give the Board of Health the agency to say, Anthony or whoever.
And is this done in other towns?
This is something that's being brought to Morals and Wakefield. Morals and Stone as well.
Okay.
Same thing.
But are you saying other towns in the state do this? Have this? Yes.
Yes, that it's regulated by the
regulation of
health.
Yes,
Yes.
this regulation
Agents.
Belchertown and the other towns that have passed
Yep.
this, they have also used, they've also put in the ability to regulate THC.
I think Lynn did it maybe 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe we can talk about that
Yeah.
next week. That sounds good, but I think it's important to be clear, like one thing at a time. But it does sound like this is something that we should. address.
So if,
And
just so if the board wants more information, please let us know and we can provide that between now and the next meeting. So you can look back at the old minutes. If you have copies of the old minutes.
yeah, they're all
Yeah.
online.
Yeah, we're all there.
As well.
That's fine. So we can be prepared to have a discussion about this next month.
I saw your email about preparing at the end of February, but I saw it today.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I guess we're not going to discuss 389.
Actually, so we weren't going to, but we do have some information. Dan, you just want to.
Thank you.
Appreciate
very
you coming.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, you want to get this.
Yeah, so 389 Salem, it's a property currently has a cesspit in the backyard. They failed the Title V, so they're putting in a new septic system. So the design engineer submitted a plan to put the system in the front yard. Long story short, it may be more favorable to put the system in the backyard. We have to test the soil back there before we can determine that. So at this point, we don't need a vote on any of the local upgrades because it could be that the system changes entirely. And then that's because in the current place in the front yard, it requires variances. However, if the soils are good in the backyard, it would not require any variances. Therefore, it's more favorable to put it back there as
Okay.
opposed to.
So maybe they'll make that decision and this won't even have to be discussed.
If when we test the soil, it looks good, then we'll put the system in the backyard and it won't have to be discussed. However, if the soils are bad back there, then there's gonna be
Another plan.
a variance request for gardens.
Thank,
It would-
okay. Thank you for the update.
Sure.
Anthony?
No major updates. We are, I think I told the board, but we are now in camp season preparation. So we are going moving forward with that. We're just moving along.
Okay.
Our budget's coming up very soon. We want this budget to show the board health. Next meeting.
I love budget season.
Yes, budget season. So it's always a good time.
We all do.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all we got, man.
Anything from the board?
No, nothing.
Okay. You want to chat about next month? What do we like?
You can pick.
The third would be the 15th, tax day.
What's the
Is that too
difference?
ominous?
When is that?
Yeah. Don't be late. I thought it was April 14th.
Yeah, and town meeting is the 26th, am I right?
That sounds
No, that can't be 26th, because that's a Sunday.
a Monday. I think it's maybe
It's the 20th.
27th or the 20th?
It might be the 27th, right? Because the 20th, isn't that school vacation?
It is, yeah.
I think it's 27th.
All right. Election day is the 28th.
Well,
Election day, that's right, I forgot about. I didn't put that on my calendar yet.
Get ready.
I will.
you guys want to do, exactly a month from, unless you want to go back to like the 3rd, because I know this was.
This was a weird one. I feel like maybe we should go back to the 3rd, get back on to our schedule.
Yeah.
So tax day?
Tax day.
Yeah, that's all right with me. Is that all right with you? The 15th?
The 15th.
All right.
15th.
Great. If there's nothing else, I would love to entertain a motion to close the meeting.
Oh, I guess I'll make the last motion of the night. I'll make the motion to end the meeting
Making
tonight.
motions.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Silver eye.
Macaulay, aye.
Linehan, aye.
Wanted to hit that
I've been
gap.
waiting.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, very much. Thank you.